Hey guys, what is up? It's Biff from Fearless Mods. Today we are going to work on the Subaru again, chasing after that same problem that I was talking about to you on the road trip. On that trip you saw that with the temperature in the 30s, I was able to make the problem go away and come back at will based on the air conditioner setting on the car. Since then, it has been much colder. We had a couple days at -8 degrees during the daytime, and wind chill was even much worse. So what I have discovered is that when the temperature gets down into the 20s at some point, the sensor that I can't control anymore. The temperature goes away and I can't make it come back. I'm going to try to see if we can replicate the different issue this morning. I'm going to see if I can show you some of the what's been going on with it. What I think's happening in the garage. Normally it senses a little warmer temperature until you open the garage and everything. So let's see here. There we go. Now let's see if as that drops, I don't know if 29 is going to be low enough. You can see the AC is on, so we're commanding that, and we got the 36. I'm going to just pull out here. Here's the other issue I've been researching today. Listen to this with full crank. Yeah, that's the been researching that all morning. That'll be a future episode, but that seems to be something to do with the just the all-wheel drive system. A lot of people say it's normal, but let's see if we can get this temperature to drop down and maybe disappear. Here's another degree. At this rate, I'm not thinking it's going to drop low enough for it to go away. Love the sound of that turbo spool in the morning. Even if it doesn't drop down, we're still going to be able to put in the new sensor, and because right now I could make that temperature go away by shutting off the AC. So that is still an issue. It's just we've been taking note of the fact that there's other things going on with it here lately with respect to that. How it completely goes away when the temperature drops. So it's kind of two failure modes if you think of it that way. All right guys, that's not going to drop below 32, so I'm going to go ahead and head back to the barn, and we'll just get to replacing that sensor. But first, it's lunchtime, so how about a little bit of Cane's chicken fingers. Okay, Cane's complete. So now let's see what we can do here. Here's what I think's going on. So let me describe it like this. This is a 1157 light bulb with 2 filaments, so it doesn't matter. But you know how sometimes that little springy filament in there will get a little crack in it, and so your light becomes intermittent. When the 2 springs are touching, it still works, but if it shakes, you can make the light go out, and then when you take it out and you go like this, you can see it vibrating on one end. I think that's what's going on with the Subaru. If you look at the sensor, it is very simple. 2 little plugs there, and it's sealed on this end. And this is where it's doing all its temperature sensing, is inside there. But what I think is going on is that inside that sensor, there's some kind of not a filament, but some kind of an element in there, because the 2 wires that go in go across something that's sensing temperature and then come back. I think it could be like that light bulb, where it's intermittent, so it's not making a good solid connection. When it gets cold, maybe that spring's pulling apart and not making contact anymore, and when it gets warmer, it actually allows it to expand where it can make good enough contact that it works. I'm probably way off base. I'm just trying to come up with theories that might explain what's going on with the car. Without further ado, let's just get in there and replace this damn thing and see if it fixes the problem. One last thing before I get started, I want to shout out to to our sponsors at Liberty Auto City, Liberty Subaru, up there in Libertyville, Illinois. It's where I get my Subaru parts, and it'll be linked down below, but again, SubaruPartWholesale.com with the WWs and all that stuff is where you go, put your VIN in, and you can find any part you need for your Subaru application. And it's really quick. It's simple. It's good prices. Shipping is cheap, and you get them quickly. So huge shout out to these guys for continued sponsorship for us and getting stuff to us very rapidly. Thanks, Beth.
Thanks, Beth. Thanks, Beth.
And you'll see we'll be sporting a little bit of logo on the back of the car here. Okay, so bumper's off, and right here's the sensor. So at this point, we're going to know pretty dang quickly if this is the fix, because we can do this before we even get the bumper back up on here. Here's the old one. Looks just like the new one, and it appears to be sealed, and there's no damage on it. But let's plug the new one in. That one is a V83D. This one says V69Z, so who knows? I just want to know if this thing works, so let's give it a shot. Fingers are crossed. Please let this be the fix. That's not encouraging. So we've still got the exact same problem. It is not the sensor. It's 30 bucks to throw a sensor on and just rule that out. So this just got a whole lot more complex. Clearly not the light bulb theory. You know what they say about theories? They're like assholes, and they all stink except your own. But in this instance, mine also stinks. What we're going to start doing now then is I got to get back into all the schematics. It's been about 3 or 4 weeks since I did a good scrub of them, so I can look at the air conditioning system, I can look at the electrical system, I can look at the ECM, all these different things that this connects in through. First thing I want to do is show you the partnership. It's not really a partnership, but they hooked me up. So let me set up here and show you what I got hooked up with and tell you a little bit about this tool and how it may or may not be useful for what I'm getting ready to do to the car. If you have not heard of this company before, it's called Power Probe, and they make a lot of simple little probes. I saw it years ago on one of those shows on about fixing cars on cable, Two Guys Garage or something. It was really cool because they talked about how it's more than just a normal test probe. So you have like your wire tester here. You put your little probe in the end. You turn it on, and you hook it to ground. And sometimes you use a test light. Sometimes you use a voltmeter or an ohm meter. And this kind of does all of it for you. It is your test light, your voltmeter, your ohm meter, and so much more. One of the things that I like here is you can replace the tip here. And I've got this little extension, and it has like a little blade. I don't know if you can see that, but it has like a little blade here so you can get into like electrical terminals to test those. It's got this super long, like 20-foot cable that you hook up to essentially to the battery. So the other cool thing about it is you can apply power to this too. So it's really cool. You can not just see if there's continuity in a circuit, but if you're testing something like a fan motor, let's say, you can check the continuity. Once that's good, you can apply power, and it'll actually turn the fan on and prove to you that the fan is functioning too. So it's a really cool tool, a lot of capability, and I really look forward to being able to utilize this on any of our needs on the Subaru or any of the cars. So huge shout out to the guys at Power Probe that sent this out to us. It's an amazing capability, It's going to be an awesome ad to have in the Fearless Mods garage. It's time to get into the electrical diagrams again. So I definitely have done some homework on here and have gotten kind of a list when I went through these all before. This is my stack, and I have gotten a list here of things that I want to do. But this definitely means that we're going to get to use the power probe. They put together a nice little instructional video here. And so I'm going to review my instructions here on how to operate the hook.
Welcome to our Power Probe Hook Fast Start video.
I'm not big on circuit boards as far as my knowledge and understanding of how electrical power works when you start getting into that kind of electronics. But if I can get in there and see where stuff's coming in, I can maybe at least follow some continuities and maybe see if there's something that is breaking up between the front where the sensor plugs in and either the HVAC circuit board or what they call a microcomputer, the multifunction display microcomputer, or the control display right there in the center console. I think my plan of attack here is going to be to just kind of check some of the continuity in the leads that we've already looked at before. I'm mostly right now just going to be in ohm meter mode, just kind of checking to make sure that I have continuity through lines. It's always got the light on when you're plugged into power, which comes in handy as well. But I will be able to go ahead and check the other end of some of those leads. I'm not going to bore you guys with all this. I'm going to jump right into it and just start checking some things out and going through the checklist of things that I've marked throughout all that paperwork that I want to check. And I'll update you if I come across anything, have any findings, have any revelations, anything like that. All right, so I've already found out one thing that kind of confirms that something is going on here. When I have the power probe in the connector up here, when I turn the key on with the car off, I start to pick up voltages in both sides. So 5 volts and 2.9 volts. When I go to accessory, it stays roughly the same, 4.9 and 3.0. Now granted, the temperature is not going to show up in either one of those situations because I've got the sensor unplugged, but with the car on and the key on, AC off, I get 5 volts and 3.6 volts, so it just still roughly the same. But the interesting thing is when I click that AC button on, it starts making a tone, and it shows a low voltage down around the 0.03 volt range. I have the hot shot available, meaning I don't even know what it means. It's confusing the hell out of me. But the bottom line is there's a difference between the two. Now, does that mean that's giving it its ground? Possibly. That could mean that's where it's getting its ground, and it's saying, hey, do you want to apply power here and power up or whatever it is? You wouldn't want to do that on a sensor or anything that goes into the computer or the electronics, because you would just burn that stuff up. All I can say at this point is it's interesting. It's kind of confirming what I was saying about it getting its ground elsewhere. It doesn't explain why it is that it's temperature dependent. When it's below 25 degrees, that option goes away. I'm going to continue digging around in it and see if I can find out anything additional. Okay, update time. So I have gotten the fuse box back apart again. What I was finding is, as I was coming down here and connecting to the various pins there that run the wires back, I'd already checked them all the way back here to the fuse box, and so I was checking them again where they come back into this junction here, this little jump box here. We've talked about that before. It comes in this little connector, or in on the bigger connector, which is right down there, and it goes in one side of this, and then it comes out the other side of this here and heads on into the car. There's a light blue one near the middle, and there's an orange one near the middle. Those are the ambient temperature sensor lines. Those go through from the ambient temperature sensor through the connector there that I just showed you, and they run over here and go to the combination meter, which is the instrument cluster. So I've been checking this pin 27 against pin 1 and had good continuity all the way from the front of the car up into the back of the meter. But whenever I would check pin number 27 against pin number 1, no dice. So I chased it back to here, and it's all good. And that's where we stop right there. Then I was checking between here and the cluster, and it's no good. So I got to looking, I'm like, all right, what's this connector here? So I did a lot of searching, and I found it. This connector is behind the glove box, right up against the center console, kind of towards the center on the passenger side. 2 white connectors. Lots of stuff go through this connector, but the 2 pins I'm concerned about are pin 1 and 2. And so I unplugged that, and I have good wire from the female side of that over to the instrument cluster. So I know that wire part of it's good. So somewhere between here and here, this nice simple little blue line is my problem. That nice simple little blue line goes from behind here in that connector down through all of these wires into the fender again, and along here, and then into the car. So without a doubt, the issue is between here and here. I would guarantee you it's somewhere right in here, which means I've got to take this all off again. I'm not going to show you. Apologize, this video is nothing but talk and not even a lot of time lapse, but you've seen it before, and I just want to get you to finish. What I will say is this power probe has come in very handy. You can see it's running all the way around in here and into the car. And then what I'm having to do, the only issue I'm having is I got to be able to take the 2 ends and touch them, the 2 ends of the wire, one at the front of the car and one at the cluster, and be able to see if there's continuity between them. The difficulty in that arises when you have the power probe on one end. It's powered so you can check all your stuff, but you can't check the continuity on the 2 ends of the wire. So that's why I have these little things set up here, little alligator clip where I can pin into that and then run these end to end into the car so that I can check the continuity. Worked great on the on that other wire, but on this one, because it has the brake, obviously it wasn't working. That thing's coming in kind of handy, and it's what I needed to be able to get this job done right. So we're going to keep at it. We're going to find these things, and we're going to solve this problem once and for all. All right, guys. Let me show you what would cause. First off, could I have done this without pulling the whole fuse box apart? Probably, possibly. However, I am not super confident that I would have been able to get to this underneath all that. It was pretty tight down in there, so I'm glad to have it out here. And plus, I'm going to have to do some more work right here. But I'm going to see if I can show you this. First, I'm going to tell you about it. And I don't even know what this wire does, but I have a suspicion. So here's my little light blue wire that comes out next to my little orange wire here, and these here are my ambient temperature sensor. When did I transfer the problem from what I was having to the temperature sensor? Is when I fixed all this wiring. You can see the orange one was fine. I didn't have to do any splices to it, and it has good continuity all the way back into the car. The blue one, however, did not. The fun part here, there's this other little blue wire here, and I had spliced in some pieces there where they had a sharp kink in them, and in the process of doing that, these 2 little light blue wires on the back side also look very similar. So these 2, you can't see much of a difference in them, because there isn't much of a difference in them, except for one very important one. And along this light blue wire there is a very light tan, maybe, stripe, and along this one there's not. It is just light blue. It's a solid light blue wire. Jump past my little blue splice here. The problem is the tan stripe comes over here and then departs over here, and the light blue wire comes up here and departs over here. So what has happened is that I have obviously this up royally. yeah, I obviously got my wires crossed. So this is going to be an easy fix. I'm just going to undo 2 of these, crisscross them back, resolder them, and then start the taping job of putting this all back in here, put this all back together, and I guarantee you the problem will be fixed. My guess is that this one is an air conditioning related line. That here I am doing the same damn thing, reliving this over again on Groundhog Day. It is ironic, I'll give you that. If I could go back and replay this part of the video where I did these the first time, obviously I would relive that day a better way. I looked at the schematic, and this other wire is in fact for the air conditioner. It goes to the relay. It's one of the, this one goes to the ECM, and it is a control wire essentially that would turn on the air conditioner. So I'll have to think that one through a little bit, but that does explain somewhat why whenever I would hit the air conditioner and turn it on, it was in fact putting power out to the temperature sensor and would make that turn on. So AC button pushed, the blue line is energized, you can get your temperature. AC button off, it's not energized, you can't get your temperature. It also explains why the AC was running, the compressor is running all the time. So throughout that whole process, even though the AC light has been on, the air conditioner has actually been off because I've had to unplug the wire that kicks it on, or else it just sits there and runs forever and until it starts to make funny noises and stuff. This should solve both of those problems. And now we should have a fully functioning car. So it's all done now but the taping and the assembly. Let's do a test so that we can hear it make its way all the way to the instrument cluster. Positive, negative, we should hear it turn on. Okay. Ah, music to my ears. Thank you, Power Probe. That's continuity, baby. Here it is, man. Moment of truth. I put the main cluster back in. That connector I put back together where I was checking continuity by removing this segment. So let's see what we got here. Temperature sensor is plugged in. Wipers are on. Blinkers are probably gonna be on. Everything's all funky. Secondary air pump kicked off. Temperature is up on display. I didn't even have to clear codes. Cruise control's working. I can select my different modes. We're starting off with just this. Sure would be cool to see it go to a green check mark, but that might be too much to ask. Let's turn. Oof. That sounds crazy. Oh, but I can turn it on and off. The air conditioner's working, temperature's staying on regardless. I think we're looking good, guys. I think it is finally, let's see what we got in here. No codes are stored in the module. Put that one in the books for posterity, man. Fearless Mods fans, I think we have finally conquered the Subi beast. That is a great feeling. Unplug this thing because I don't need it anymore. I say that with confidence. That is awesome. Holy smokes. What does this mean? All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together and get this thing back to roadworthy. And then it's winter. It's cold as crap outside. I don't know if the groundhog saw its shadow or not. It doesn't matter. It's going to be cold for a long time in Ohio. This thing does not do great in the snow. Not with those Dunlop summer sport tires on it. The plan is to, now that this is going to finally be fixed, set it aside from the standpoint of the channel for a few months and focus a little more on the Trans Am and trying to help get that green S13, some of his problems situated. So that's where I'm going to start focusing a little bit. Got a whole punch list of things I need to do on the Trans Am. She's old. She's feeling her age. Good Lord, what is it? 25 years old. She's a classic this year, and I bought it brand new. So time to focus some attention on that girl and fix that miss. And those are some things that we can do in the garage. And then my plan is to paint the Subaru. So still got a little bit of body work that I got to get done on the back end, and then more than likely paint maybe that green S13 first as a first practice run car, and then move on to painting this one as the second car I will have ever painted. It's going to take some time for both the weather to get better, as well as for me to collect the things that I'm going to need to be able to get that done, compressor and things like that. We're getting there. We're getting close. This is not an all stop on this by any means. I'm going to continue driving it every day, but this is great news. Sorry for the crappy video, the string of spaced out videos and long videos, and especially the ones where I'm just talking like I'm doing right now. But it's just chasing down an electrical issue like that. It takes time, and I even induced that one myself. You know, mistakes happen, but I'm glad we were able to find it finally. Huge thanks to Power Probe for hooking us up with their hook. That's a great product. Recommend you check them out. Huge thanks thus far to Liberty Subaru for hooking us up throughout this entire build to this point. And please check them out, www.subarupartwholesale.com. I still got to go on there and do some shopping. There's some pieces I'm seeing as I take the bumper off that still need, I still need some new replacement pieces, and it's just too easy to get the new stuff and get them for a good price on there. So you got to do it. Check them out. If you have enjoyed watching any of these, please go down there and click the like button. If you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. Thank you to all of you who are subscribed. It's a lot of fun doing this for and with you all, and I look forward to getting more good content out to you here in the near future. So that said, I've got some work to do, so I'll catch you next time. Take care.